morning, friends. I hope you guys are well. I'm so excited to continue getting ready for back to school together. As a former teacher and a mom to 3 school-age children, there's a lot of things I like to do ahead of time to just ensure a smoother and easier and happier transition back into the new school year. Today I'm going to be sharing routines, systems I set up. We're going to go back to school shopping together. I have a free printable back to school checklist I'm going to be sharing. So many wonderful things. If you're new, welcome. My name is Trisha Miller. I hope you'll hit that subscribe button and stick around. Let's get started. Always been a checklist kind of a person. If we're traveling, I like to make a checklist of what we're supposed to pack. If I'm making a list, like a to-do list for the day, I just love having a list. It keeps me on track. It keeps me organized. It keeps me motivated. It's so satisfying just to check those boxes off. So I do the same thing for back to school. I love to bust out my laminator. And I'm going to use it, I think, for our morning checklist later on in this video. But I decided to share with you guys a different idea because not everybody has a laminating machine. And so I just borrowed from Charlie his back to school supplies, just a simple sheet protector. And it's nice. You can write on it with dry erase. You can erase it. It works really, really well. And I just hung it up on our fridge. Now, I already did one back to school prep video. Last video, we did some decluttering and organizing, and some of that is on here. So let's start out by just checking off the things that we have already done. Let's jump right into some systems that I have in place to kind of control the paper chaos of the school year. If your kids are anything like mine, the second they get off the bus, they're ripping open their backpack and pulling out their math tests to show me their grade, their fundraiser form, so many papers that are coming home. And so what I like to do is have different systems in place for all of those papers. So the first thing I do is I just get a simple file folder, paper holder. I'll link something similar for you. I got this from Target years ago. These are for the papers that I need to look at. So instead of immediately having just a pile of papers that we're going through the second we come in the door, my kids know all of those papers that they want Stephen and I to see. They're just gonna put them in this right over here next to our charging station. This is for grades that they want us to see, the important fundraisers, newsletters, things from the teachers, all the things. So this is our please parents look at these papers at some point today pile. And so I just keep it right here. It's nice and easy for them. Now, once we go through those papers, if it's something that we need to send back to the school, we'll sign it, we'll put it back in their backpack. But there are sometimes papers that we don't need to send back, things that we just need to hold on to. I'm thinking our middle schooler, Charlie, he gets a class syllabus at the start of every single year. So that's important information we want to hold on to. Sometimes homework papers, again, Charlie, Spanish flashcards, things like that. So papers that we don't necessarily need to recycle right away, we need to hold on to them for whatever reason throughout the school year. That's where we have these, and we have these for each of our children. Speaking of Spanish, a lot of Charlie's Spanish 1 stuff is sitting in his folder right here because he's going to review it he's still reviewing it over the summer to get ready for the next school year. At least that's what he's telling me he's doing. And then I have one for Liam and Rory, and it's just, again, a simple little file folder paper system that we put in here in the cabinet. Things I also like to put in here when they go for their annual physicals at the doctor's appointment. I'll kind of stick their growth chart and stuff in there. Report cards go in there. So things that we might want to hold on to for memories and things like that. I just keep them there throughout the year. And if you saw in my last video, I went through and decluttered. Once a year, I go through in the summer before the next school year and then really go through things and decide, is this something we want to hold on to long term or is it time to recycle it? Let me share with you guys what we do with some other papers in the pantry. Hello from the pantry. All right, so I have these thumbtack strips set up in our pantry, and this is for things that come home that we want to display. So artwork that the kids bring home, maybe a grade that they're really proud of, things like that. It's kind of like our brag wall. I set it up in the pantry because our family spends an abnormal amount of time in our pantry. We are constantly in here, probably one of the most popular spots in our home. So this is the perfect place to display that stuff. I also have our family paper calendar up here. We will get to that later. I am an old school big paper calendar, colorful pens, stickers, kind of a person. So we will get that set up together today. But what I want to do here, I have our spring/summer thumbtacks still in here, so I want to swap them out. I have a thumbtack organizer. I have them for all the different seasons, so I'm going to get our fall ones out and get this ready to go for the new school year. We have now moved to the mudroom. I did take the time to go ahead and laminate our morning checklist because that's something that will stay up on the wall all school year long. My kids like to take their finger and kind of go down the list, so it's touched a lot. So you could also just, again, put it in a page protector and stick it up on your wall. Just make sure you use the type of tape that doesn't take the paint off of the wall. Cautionary tale learned from me. So what I like to do with our morning checklist, I created this, I think 2 or 3 years ago for our kids because the mornings became this mess of Stephen and I constantly reminding them, did you pack a water bottle? Do you have your lunch in your backpack? Is your Chromebook in there? Things like, did you wear the right shoes if you have PE today? So it was just a constant thing of Stephen and I having this mental load of trying to remember everything that the kids needed to have ready before they left. I decided to just put it on paper and keep it simple because it's pretty much the same thing every single day. And so I'm gonna give you a close-up. I'll walk you through our morning checklist. This is another resource that I will just put in the video description box for you. I'll give you the filled out one that my family uses to just refresh your mind of things that I like to put on the list. And then I'll also give you a blank version so you can customize it for your own family. All right, let's look at it. Let me show you the list in detail. The reason I put it in the mudroom is because this is a door that we leave every single day to go to the bus stop. So it's a nice little checkpoint for the kids before they head out the door. So I have things like, I tried to do it in order of how I think they'll do it. So they wake up, eat breakfast, get dressed, brush teeth, make your bed, fill up your water bottle, pack snack. If they're gonna pack lunch that day, I put it on there. They like to buy a lot. So that just depends on the day and what's for lunch at school. Pack their computer. Our school has Chromebooks. And then if they have resource, this actually applies to our middle schooler as well because he has PE every other day. So he needs to make sure he has PE shoes. For the youngers, if they have a library book, if they have library resource that day, remember that. Pack their homework if they had homework to do. For Charlie, pack his band instrument and binder. Again, that's like an every other day system in his middle school. Liam wears glasses. Charlie wears a hearing aid, so this is the reminder for them. And then for the boys, deodorant, things like that. If you have some emerging tweens, then you understand that last one. But I love this morning checklist. It's simple. It gives the kids ownership to remember all of those things, and it just really helps to build all of that independence. I also want to give a quick update on our family skylight calendar. This is not sponsored. It was sponsored earlier in the summer when I received the skylight calendar, but a lot of you have been asking how we like it. Obsessed. My family loves it. So I had that morning checklist that we put by the door. I'm gonna take the exact same list, plug it into our skylight for each of the kids, because I just want to kind of see which system they gravitate towards. This summer, they're absolutely gravitating towards the skylight, and they go through and they just check off the things as they go. We use it for chores. I'm going to use it for our family calendar as well as my paper calendar. We'll get to the calendar later on in this video, but so far, we really like the skylight. So if you're on the fence, feel free to ask me questions in the comments. I will be 100% honest with you, but we really like it here. Okay, next system I want to share with you guys is just my simple reusable sticky note I am very much a Post-it note person. I put them everywhere to remind me of things. And then I discovered the reusable ones, and I love this thing. So I have it front and center on our microwave. I see this every single morning when I go in to get the coffee. I see it when I go in for the second coffee. So this is my just day of important reminders that I need to know. Like, for example, right now it says Wednesday Jersey Day. The boys are at basketball camp this week, and so I didn't want to forget that on Wednesday they're supposed to wear a special jersey. But what I need to do, because my brain will eventually stop looking at this if I keep the same color up. So every season I like to switch out the color, and then it's just something new, and it just, I don't know, maybe let me know if you're like that too, but my eyes just go to it if it's something different. I don't get used to it anymore. So I want to do a fun fall color. Cannot wait. We're decorating for fall very soon on this channel. But I'm going to swap out and do an orange. I'll rewrite the Wednesday Jersey Day because I can't forget that. Today is Tuesday, but I love this easy system. You could also just use Post-it notes, but I like the reusable ones. They're better for the environment. It's less things to keep up with. And this pack was super affordable on Amazon. It comes in lots of different colors. It's the perfect size for our family. So highly recommend these simple things.
We can cry when it's over.
A routine and really a system that we have set up for our kids is having a spot for all the things that they could possibly need for homework or school projects. We also call it just an activity area. So this is our homework drawer that I set up. And so what we typically do on those school days is the kids come home from school, they grab a snack, and then they go to the homework drawer and grab whatever they need in order to get their homework done. If you have younger kids, you could call this an activity drawer. If you don't have a drawer that you can designate for this, grab a cart or a bin and have that be your homework bin or your homework cart. And so I just fill it with things like crayons and pencils and little flashcards for my older kids. And if you have younger kids, just have it be activities for them, because it's never too early to kind of get into that routine of having an area for a non-screen activity when they get home from school, because it's so easy to gravitate towards the screens and, let them unwind. But for my kids, if I do that, then the homework will never get done, because we are heavily involved in sports and activities early in the evening. So we have that routine where they come home, they have their homework that they're setting up, and they go to their homework drawer. So this has been really important for our family. right, next on my list is to get our morning hair station set up. We're in the mudroom bathroom right now, and I normally get it set up in this bin, but I have a different bin I'm gonna try this year. But as you can see, it's a hot mess express under here, so I just wanna go ahead and get this whole thing organized while we're at it. So let's go ahead and get this done. Also, somebody has come to say hello to everybody. If you're new, this is Annie. She is my Velcro dog. She is by my side at all times. So if you ever hear little dog pitter patter on the floor, just know it's Annie. All right, while I'm working under the sink, I want to kind of multitask and talk to you guys about bedtime routines, because for our family, we have stayed up way too late this summer, but honestly, that's kind of the fun of summer. We have those slower mornings, so we do let our kids stay up later. But I also know if we don't start reeling that in now, the transition back to school is going to be so much harder on our kids. And so what I like to do about 2 weeks before we go back to school, which is now for us, I start to reel back that bedtime about 10 minutes earlier each night until I get to the desired bedtime for our kids for back to school. This is especially important for our middle schooler because his school is starting a whole hour earlier this year. So I'm starting that now, and it's just an easy transition because it's only 10 minutes earlier. And then what I like to do is hopefully get to that desired bedtime about 3 to 4 days before we actually go back to school. Then they really get into that routine. They get used to it. If you don't have 2 weeks to get that going, maybe just about be a little bit more aggressive about it. Do it 30 minutes earlier until you get to the desired bedtime. But now is the time to do it. All those little things really matter to just kind of set them up for an easier transition back to school. Okay, I already love how this is turning out. I just wanted to share with you guys, I'm gonna switch to this Tina Turner rotating organizer. These come out if need be, but I think this is gonna be better for our hair station. Rory 100% does her hair on her own in her own bathroom. The boys like to still have a hair station down here, and they'll do it last minute as we're getting ready to go. So I like to have a water bottle, a spray bottle, just to kind of make their hair not look like they just woke up. I'll add some of the Honest Detangler spray in here. I think I'll put the hairbrush in the center. And then each of the boys have their own deodorant. So it's nice, they can kind of just rotate it to where they need to grab their stuff and everything's not just getting like all crazy in the bin. This is Charlie's hair stuff that he likes to use. If you have a tween who's like really into their hair at this point, I do love this stuff. It just gives it like a little bit more volume because apparently that's the thing. Speaking of tweens, yep, we've entered this stage of life. And then the last thing is just some nail clippers because we always need those. We've moved into the laundry room because I want to share an idea with you guys that I use for my kids' uniforms. Our kids are heavily involved in sports. The boys are super into basketball, as most of you know. Rory does cheerleading, soccer. She's adding basketball this year. So we have a lot of sports uniforms to keep up with. And after one weekend of losing a jersey and having it just be super stressful, I was done. I knew I needed a system for my family, and what's really nice is my kids take ownership of this now and they put their uniforms where they're supposed to go. So what I typically did, I just showed you guys, I had these bins from Dollar Tree. Each kid has one, and I had them just laid out on the counter in our laundry room. The only issue with that is that it takes up almost the entire counter. So while we were at the pool last week, I had this idea of just getting a simple, I think it's like a paper filer. I got it on Amazon, and these bins slide in perfectly. And so I want to keep them in the gold bins because then the kids can just take theirs out, get their uniform, and then slide it back in. So the other benefit to this is it's just going to slide in the corner, and then we will get our counter space back. If your kids aren't involved in sports, maybe they go to private school and you have private school uniforms, I feel like this would be a great system for that. or just to pick out their school clothes for the week. You could even have 2 of these and then have 1 bin per day of the week, have their clothes organized and ready to go. There's a lot of possibilities with this. Let's get this set up. The only current uniform I have is Liam's because he's about to wrap up his summer basketball season. He has a game tonight, so I have his jersey ready to go, so we'll get this set up.
All the things I still remember. Oh, by the minute, it's getting much stronger. But I will never want it any other way. And we were always talking.
All right, next up on our list is probably the most important thing for back to school, and that is back to school supply shopping. We have this tradition in our house where we take our kids individually. We make a whole day of it. They love to go back to school supply shopping, pick out their pencil box, their backpack, their lunch bag, their folder colors, all of those good things. We do have the option at our school, which is super convenient. You can pay a set fee and then the school purchases the supplies. They're waiting for your kids the first day of school. But since we have this tradition that Steven and I and the kids very much look forward to, we don't go that route, but I do appreciate that it's an option for us. So I took Rory back to school supply shopping first. The other thing that I want to share with you guys is what we like to buy as far as clothing and things like that. I talked about it in our last video, but we actually don't buy our kids a ton of clothes to go back to school. It's August, it's hot, they're still wearing their summer clothes. If there's one outfit they're excited about for like the first day of school, we'll get that for them. But what we focus on are new socks, because inevitably half of their socks are missing or there's holes in them. And then we also get new shoes for back to school. We have an outlet mall that's really close by, so we take our kids there. They have Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, just all the brands that they love for their back to school shoes. So we take them shopping there. So let me bring you back to when Rory and I went back to school supply shopping, and then also when we hit up the outlet mall. Let's go shopping.
Then a new world was opening up. And I thought that everything was already said. When it all came over me, all the things, what you said, what you did, what you made me feel. In that second, it all was so clear to me. But I will never want it any other way. And we were always talking, wishing for the phone bill not to come. And we were always laughing, not cries, not tears fall. We were always making love.
Okay, before I unpack and sort through all of the school supplies, I want to thank iClever for sponsoring this portion of today's video. iClever sent me headphones for all 3 of my kids for back to school. They have over 15 years of experience. Oh, look who's joining us for this portion. Always when we're in the room, she wants to get cozy with us. Anyways, let me open these up and share with you why I trusted iClever for my kids' back to school headphones. As I was saying, iClever has over 15 years of experience specializing in kids' headphones. They're trusted by 5 million families, and they're the leading choice on Amazon. Not only are they budget-friendly, super affordable, they're durable, they're safe, they're easy to use with all of your kids' school devices or home devices, and they come in so many different colors. My kids loved picking out their colors. I will have all of the information linked for you guys in the video description box below. A couple of things that I noticed right off the bat about these is that the plug-in right here, the kids cannot pull them out. I cannot tell you how important this is because so many times my kids have told me that their headphones don't work and I check and it's just simply because this piece came out by accident. So important that that is connected. I also love how soft the ear part is. All of this extra padding is just gonna be so comfortable. They also have it at the part that goes over your kid's head. So amazing. All right, the last two things I wanna share about the iClever headphones are two just teacher PSAs to put out there for you guys. As your kids get older, they're gonna want wireless headphones. That is a nightmare for teachers. A lot of schools don't even allow them. Our schools don't even allow them anymore. Trust me, trying to connect to a Bluetooth and just all the things is just really, really challenging for those teachers. So go for the wired headphones. I love this. Feels so durable too. That's the other thing. Make sure it has a nice, thick, just wire to it. When it's really, really thin, it is so easy for those to get broken, for a friend to take some scissors and goof around and accidentally cut the wire off. Nobody's cutting this wire off. The other thing that I love is volume control. First of all, it's not safe for your kids to just be able to make them as loud as they want, but also as a former teacher, if your kids can have their headphones super, super loud, that means they don't hear the teacher talking to them. So please, please, please make sure you get headphones that have a volume control. This is really, really nice because not only do they have volume control, it's at a safe volume. So your kids don't have the ability with the iClever headphones to jack up the volume and harm their hearing. Thank you so much, iClever. I know that these are gonna be amazing this year. They're gonna be durable, and I'm so excited for my kids to have them. Now that I have all the school supplies laid out, here is my plan to stay organized. So Charlie, we don't technically know what supplies he needs yet. Charlie is our 12-year-old. For anybody new, he's in middle school, and so he finds out from the teachers the first week of school, like specific things in their syllabus that they need to have. But I know basic stuff from last year, so I went ahead and just picked up paper, things like that for Charlie. So we have a little bit of extra things here, but for Liam and Rory, I have their exact school supply list here. So I have my clipboard, I have my highlighter, and my plan is just use a simple laundry basket. And I'm gonna start with Rory, and I'll just highlight as I grab the supplies, put it in the basket, and then at the end, I'll take her new backpack, which by the way, she is apparently in her fruit era because she chose a strawberry backpack this year, and then a lemon lunch bag. So cute. So I'm gonna grab all her supplies, get it in here, and then fill her backpack. It's like a meet the teacher open house the week before school starts, which is only in I think 10 days for us at this point. So we get to go, we meet the teacher, you bring all the supplies then. A lot of the supplies are just community supplies for this classroom. So I picked up a bunch of extra markers and crayons and colored pencils, and I fully plan on just bringing extra for the back to school and just throwing it in the bin for each of the teachers because they always run out of stuff. So I always like to pick it up. Plus Target had an incredible sale. I think markers were 75 cents or $1 per pack, and then the crayons were only 50 cents. So your girl loaded up. All right, I'm gonna highlight, I'm gonna go, we're gonna stay organized. Let's do this.
Always lost about something. Who knows if I can find a track that could lead me back to those days when we were happy. We said we would never give up. I feel so lost in
doesn't mess around. There are a million pockets in this backpack. What I love is there's a spot for her Chromebook. Because Rory is going into 2nd grade, she now, I think, brings her Chromebook home every single day, so I wanted it to have that spot to protect it. Something to note, I am going to make labels on my Cricut for her pencil box and then also for her new headphones, so we'll do that later in this video. I'm going to go ahead and just... Do you hear Annie barking outside the door? I had to get her out of the room so I had room to do all of this. She's not happy with me. So I'm going to go ahead and put this away in her backpack, but I'll get it back out when we get to the labeling part. I just don't want to miss it. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, but so far I have not had any school supplies go missing. I probably should wait until, I'm talking a big talk, but I haven't even done Liam's supplies yet. But every single year, if you've been following, I have a bag, sometimes 2, of school supplies that go missing. It's usually in the trunk of my car, but this was the year I had a big goal to not lose school supplies, so I think we're looking good. We'll find out. Let's do Liam's backpack next.
We got this conversation, and you seem to agree with me. But when there's complications, you withdraw and leave me to be. When there's a problem, you become like a wall. And every time I trip, it's a free fall. Why don't you help me the way I help you? You don't have to save me, just be my parachute. When I'm feeling down, you're just not there, making sure I'm okay. Why don't you help me the way I help you?
Apparently 5th grade is the year that you upgrade to some legit scissors. Couple of fun ideas to talk about. First of all, I shouldn't have said that back to school supply shopping is probably the most important part of back to school, because actually what I think the most important part of back to school is thanking those incredible teachers. As a former teacher, I can tell you how much it meant to me when I got a handwritten note from a student or the occasional gift. At the high school level, it's a little bit more rare, but it is so important to thank those teachers. Don't wait until Teacher Appreciation Week. I think it's the little things that matter. And so what I love to do for our kids is the Friday, so the end of the first week of school, I like to send just a little something in for the teachers. And so the idea I want to share with you guys for this year, I just got an extra couple of pencil boxes. I went for clear. I don't know if my kids are going to have male or female teachers or who their teachers are going to be yet. We find that out just I think the week before we go back to school. So I'm gonna wait to do any type of customization, but my plan is to put the teacher's name on this using my Cricut. You could also just buy labels off of Amazon, things like that, and then I'm gonna fill it with just some treats for them. And then so on the last Friday of the first week of school, I'll have my kids write out a card, and it's just like a, yay, we made it through the first week of school. Thank you so much for an incredible first week, something along those lines. And I know that the teachers are really gonna appreciate this. So you could just simply do a handwritten note. You could give them a pack of Post-it notes or a pack of pens, any of those things, but don't forget about those amazing teachers this year. One more thing that Anya and I want to show you while we're up here is my first day of school decor that I got. I like to just set up a fun little like breakfast the first day of school, something simple, and I decorate our island. And so at Target, I found this cute little honeycomb decor. I have a banner that I put up as well. They had napkins, but they look like a piece of paper, and then some pencil plates. It's just something fun and little that you can do for your kids for back to school as well.
Okay, why don't you help me the way I help you? Help me the way I help you. Oh yeah, the way I help you. Why don't you help me the way I help you? Don't have to save me, just be my parachute. Yeah.
I already got our lunchbox area organized in my last video, which I will link that video in the video description box for you in case you want to go back and watch it. But I just wanted to add Rory's new lunchbox. I do think it's nice to have, if your kids like to pack lunches, a lunchbox area that has all the things that they will need. And then the next thing on my list is to make some backpack kits for my kids. I like to have little travel tissues, hand sanitizer, and Band-Aids just on the ready for them in their backpack. I can't even tell you how many times we've been at the bus stop and, you know, the kids are running wild and having fun, getting some wiggles out before school, and somebody falls and their knee is bleeding or their elbow is bleeding, and, you know, nobody wants to risk running home at the bus stop and missing the bus. So it's nice to just have Band-Aids ready to go, especially, you know, back to school germs, that hand sanitizer ready to go on the bus. So I love to make these little kits and just put them in my kids' backpacks. Tips for you guys. I like to schedule all of my kids' eye doctor's appointments, dentist appointments, their annual well check with their doctor over the summer as we're getting ready for back to school. That kind of alleviates how much school they have to miss through the school year for appointments. Speaking of medical, another thing I like to do, I have no idea if this actually does anything, but it makes me feel like I'm doing something to help boost their immune system. But I like to give my kids emergency. I've already started with them. I like to start it 2 weeks before we go back to school, and I continue it in the fall. They do a daily multivitamin, but this is just in addition to this. I also hit it up during cold and flu season. This is the Emergency Kids Crystals. They love this stuff. You just cut off the top and they pour it in, and it tastes really good. I've tried it too. So something I like to do to try to make myself feel like I'm doing everything I can to keep them from getting the back to school colds that everybody gets. With all the fun of going back to school, there is a lot of germs that come with it as well. All right, next thing, let's talk haircuts. So that's the other thing. Kids typically need haircuts when you're going back to school, but if your kids go to a children's haircut place, they get super crowded as we're getting closer and closer. So the earlier you can schedule those haircuts, the better. So don't forget to get those appointments. I wanna do something fun. So something I like to prepare for is those first day of school pictures. We love to do those in the morning before school. I got these at Target, I think last summer. You guys could probably tell me because I'm sure I shared it with you last summer, but it just says first day of second grade, this is Rory's, and then last day of second grade, I have one for Liam, the 5th grade one, and then for Charlie, I guess they don't make the grades once you get to middle school, so he has one that says first day and last day. I want to make them a little bit more fun looking. So I have some ribbon, I have some apple ribbon, I have a couple of different like red colored ribbons. I want to do a little DIY and see if we can zhuzh these up a little bit and just make them extra special for those first day of school pictures. Let's do it.
Don't wanna wake up, I might be dreaming. I might be dreaming. You're stirring things up, my heart is beating. My heart is beating. I won't let go, I can't say no. My heart is yours, so I say here we go. You do that something to me, you do that something to my heart. I give up, feel my stop, I'm like a spinning top. You do that something to me,
These turned out so cute. I think just adding a little touch of a ribbon makes a big difference for these banners. If you want something like this, you could easily make this yourself. Just get the more firm felt that they sell at any type of craft store, and then grab some wooden dowels. These are also just like kebab sticks, so if you have those, get a fun back to school ribbon and just make your own. All right, last thing we have to do is put labels on things. I want to label the kids' pencil boxes, Rory's new lunch box, and then I have some water bottles that I haven't labeled yet with their names. So let me go get those made on the Cricut and we'll finish this up. Just kidding. We are not ready to do labels on the cups because I almost forgot one of my favorite things to do before back to school, and that's put all the important dates on our family calendar. I told you earlier that I love to do just a big calendar. I use my colorful pens, my highlighters, my fun stickers. I truly, truly enjoy doing this. And I can't even say it's because I was a teacher, because I have been like this my whole life. I remember in middle school when I got my first academic planner and I had my highlighters and my sticky notes that my mom got me. And I had so much fun writing my homework that I had to do every single night. So this is just a part of my soul. I love doing this. And so it's always exciting to pull up the school calendar. This year, Liam and Rory are starting on a different day than Charlie. So I had to put those 2 first day of schools up there. I'm going to try to do something fun with Charlie on that first day when Liam and Rory are at school. So I am looking forward to that special time with him. But I'm putting just our school calendar on there right now. Birthdays, holidays, all those good things. When we got our sports practices, we're going to put it up there. I told you guys earlier how much I also love the Skylight calendar, and so I use both. I know that might seem like a lot to some of you, or it might seem redundant, and what's the point? But that is what works for me, and that is what works for my family. My family loves looking at the Skylight calendar for all of the important information. That's what my husband Steven looks at. But your girl still needs her paper calendar. It's a part of my routine. I make my coffee in the morning in the pantry, and I sit there and I kind of look over the calendar for the day. So let me know if you're the same way and you still like to write everything down and get out those fun colored highlighters. Okay, now we are doing all of the labels. I just use my Cricut. I also, in years past, to save time, have just gone on Amazon and had labels. You can order like customizable labels. They're super affordable. So I will link those for you guys, because not all of us have a Cricut machine, but since I had it, I wanted to label some water bottles. I like to put Miller on some of them as well, just to keep it more generic, so all 3 of my kids can take it to the sports and school and things like that. You're seeing that Charlie's name is not on there. That's because my middle schooler does not like to have his name labeled on his water bottle anymore. But thank you so much for watching. I hope this gave you ideas to help get started and get ready for back to school. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, friends.
I give up, you won't stop. I'm like a spinning top. Not used to do this. It ain't my